Right, so welcome to part two of the IMR, the India Market Review for the week ending Friday, 11th August. And in this, what we want to see is how the overall Nifty stocks have been behaving. And what's interesting, definitely, in this session is that what were we talking? We were talking about certain factors in part one of the IMR. I'm not going to repeat that, but while I was just you know checking the news, etc., happened to land upon this, the latest on the Hindu, right? And if you look at this, well, it says negative industrial output enters negative zone, contract 0.1% in June, and this is the first time in the current fiscal that this industrial output has shown decline. So, you know, just the nature of the markets, one bad news after the other seems to just keep coming out. But on the other hand, there is something here which you may want to look at. New volume of economic survey recommends reforms across many sectors. Now, don't know what this is, but privatization of Air India, it says, enhancing women's involvement in agriculture, punitive measures for hospitals, creation of aviation hubs are some of the reforms suggested by the survey. Now, I'm not going to get into the details, just a header that came out. But generally, um, when you get uh, reforms like this, if they happen, I'm not saying they're going to happen, I'm just saying this is a report, and if any of these get implemented by the government of India, which is, you cannot really rule it out in the situation that the country is in, and there is a very good possibility that um, something like that could happen and kickstart another part of the bull run. On the other hand, you have mixed news like this industrial output. So right now, while going through this a little bit more, well, here is something to think about. In the UK, there is a proposal that they set up a new centrist political party which is going to oppose the Brexit and have UK stay within the European Union. And if that happens, well, then who knows? And of course, this is on CNN. You can look at this right now. And new political movement to stop Brexit, and it's there on BBC, of course, right? So where is this? Funny that on BBC itself, it's um, sort of not there, but it'll be there somewhere. Okay. All right, fine. Yeah, forget it. The latest news, and essentially that's what there is. And on the other hand, there is this news about Trump saying US is locked and loaded. If anything happens to North Korea doing any hanky panky, basically, then the US is ready to respond. And if that happens, then who knows? Is a war breaking out as we speak? And on Monday morning, we see a 1,000 point gap down, 2,000 point gap down, or things go back to just things are get resolved. So very iffy situation, and mixed news all over the place. Definitely looks like that, and so we'll have to see how this whole thing pans out, right? It's who blinks first, perhaps, situation, and you can be sure that there's a lot of um, backroom stuff going on to make this happen one way or the other. So we'll just have to wait and watch. So basically, you have to really think hard about, in a situation like this, whether you even want to be in the market, whether it's best to just get out and just sit by and watch as the events unfold, and once some sort of stability sets in, then we get back in whatever way. But yeah, if it's bad news and it's a paradise for people who are happy to short, who could very make a lot of money very quickly, and who knows, maybe your yearly target gets met in the next 1 or 2 weeks, right? All right. So with that, we get into the Nifty 50 stocks and start looking at them and ask, what are they up to? So, all right. So since I have this chart up right now, I'm just thinking, why don't we just do a very quick run through of these are next 50. Sorry, Nifty. Where is the Nifty? Yeah, there. All right, we do a very quick run through without any of the complicated things. Sometimes that really gives a wonderful insight, just keeping things simple. And so let's see, let me just keep it as candlesticks. And then if we really find something, interesting, then we will definitely look at the more detailed chart. Um, so basically what I want to do here is very quickly and fast go through perhaps all the 50 stocks charts, or 51 rather, in the Nifty, and see if there's anything of immediate importance, etc., etc. Bajaj Auto clearly, going sideways. Really, nothing much to say. If it breaks 2,700, then definitely going down much lower levels. And we saw this massive shooting star 3-4 days back, and the last 3 days has just been, really doing nothing, or rather been going down. What's interesting from a long-term perspective, you have this and we have that. So clearly in a symmetrical triangle, which way does it break or not? We'll have to wait and watch. Hero Motors, wow, this is really interesting. Doing going from strength to strength actually, right? Hero Motors is certainly something, is not a stock I want to short, or I want to, for that matter, even get out of long. As a matter of fact, looks like this might be a good stock to enter at a certain lower level. Now, when is that certain lower level? I think is really difficult to say. This is not being sold at all, unlike Bajaj Auto. So surprise, surprise, right up front, we are finding maybe a buying opportunity at a certain lower level on Hero Motors, and that is probably maybe somewhere down at 3,600, just putting some big levels, and certainly somewhere down at 3,250. One would definitely want to maybe keep a careful watch and see what it's doing. Even on the weekly chart, it's still looking quite strong. I'm definitely surprised, right? So something definitely looking good and cooking nicely in Hero Motors. On the other hand, Bajaj Auto consolidating, could do that for another, who knows, a week, a month, and after that might break out or break down. Wait for that. Maruti just started the small down move. That stock has just gone from strength to strength. We have kept being very bullish on it for a long time, and this is now right. So not a stock that's going to be very much affected by this proposed revision of taxes, cess on SUVs, etc. Doesn't really have any big SUVs, but still. But what we do have in the short term is clearly a sort of tweezer stop there on the Maruti, and clearly it is coming down and gap downs. That's the other thing. And now the volume seems to definitely be picking up, and I think from a fundamental perspective, this is probably an expensive stock, but around 6,000, if it does come there, who knows? Too early to say. Definitely a lot of bearish sentiment at this point. Not sure what happened on this day. Massive red candle, but 6,700. Can it come down? Wow, why not? Any bounce to around 7,600, 7,700, sorry, should be used to short this to 7,100. If it goes to 7,100, and then maybe even lower to 6,700, right? So that is something to keep in mind as far as Maruti is concerned. M&M, wow, been going sideways for 2014, 15, 16 for 3 years. Really no news on M&M. So this is a long-term consolidation that you're seeing in M&M. It's really not doing much. It could probably come down to 1250, I think, at least, and then from there we'll have to see what it does next. So 1250 is a very distinct possibility, and then maybe down to 1150 also. So range bound for what, 2.5, 3 years now, till it breaks out of one of these two levels. Really nothing much more to say on M&M. But when it does break down, then there's a what about 250, 1145, 300 rupee band, which suddenly it could go to 17, 1800, or it could fall to who knows 900 or 800. Right? That is possible, but definitely interesting. Right. And by the way, all of these companies working on some big launches, etc. So that's something to else to keep in mind in the months and years ahead. Tata Motors, so something spooked the stock, that's for sure. Fell quite badly today. There was clearly something cooking there, and there was sort of a descending triangle, and today a decisive breakdown on high volumes. It could perhaps go down to 300 rupees, not today, this week rather, right? So that was a weekly chart, right? And this is the daily chart that we're looking at. Actually, yesterday big gap down, and that was probably after the news on the CES, etc. Right. Let's also look at M&M daily. Okay, not so bad. Maruti daily had gap down. Tata Motors has the biggest gap down. All right. So you can see that it's broken through 3-year support. That's never a good sign when you break long-term supports like that, and it's now somewhere close to 200, and maybe it'll come down to 270 also. Who knows? It seems like a pretty far-fetched thing for now, but could definitely happen all the way to 318 for all we know. All right, so let's wait and watch. Clearly some good resistance at 600 right now, but anyhow, uh, got a hammer candle. Would be really surprised, in my opinion, to see this confirmed next week, as in it goes up, closes this gap, everything, and it goes above 420. If it does that, that'll be a massive comeback. Then definitely should not be shorting this stock. We'll have to uh, wait and watch. So some missed opportunities in terms of shorting yesterday, today, that's for sure. Nothing else to be said. I'm not going to do the DVR. It will basically be a copy of the Tata Motors. And then looking at Eicher Motor at its life high, look at that, right? Amazing move. So it's been going up, 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 strength after strength after strength after strength. And I would not be too much of a hurry to, write this off. Long-term investors should get out only if it goes below 26,000. Otherwise, yes, very likely that it will, come down to about 28, 27 and a half, given the current mood of the market, and then could turn back up from there. So till there, wait and watch. Bosch, that's clearly turned down. So it was sort of, trying to go towards its life high, and really didn't succeed very much there. That's a multiple top area, 25,000, and the way it has gone down now, and on high volume, clearly breaking uptrends also. That's where it broke the uptrend almost 2 days, 2 days back, yesterday, day before yesterday, or rather yesterday. It broke through here. So looks like 21,000. It's at 22,000, 22,600, 20,800. All looking very, very possible as far as Bosch is concerned, right? So apart from Hero Motors, which I think should be bought at every dip, everything else is looking weak on the auto side. Coming to cements, so cements, well, look at ACC. Really not. It's at a triple top, sort of made a new life high also, right? If we take that there, then definitely made a new life high in the last week, but clearly not been able to sustain that for now. This is sort of a um, tri-star pattern in candlesticks, not a very healthy sign. But on the other hand, after having made a new life high, after look at that, just let me go back. Yeah, 2015, 2016, and finally made a new life high in 2017. What is in store next? Will it just correct a bit and rally? Let's look at how the volumes played out on this stock. Well, have to say that this could be something which actually goes up. Watch for about 1650, and then from 1650 it goes back up. Uh, Pradeep is saying poor results. All right, but I would still say, Pradeep, thanks for that input. I haven't been tracking results actually this time, but even if there were poor results, given the overall sentiments, okay, let me rephrase this. If after poor results, that's all it has fallen, then I think poor results for Tata Motors. All right, sorry, I missed that chat. All right, okay. So ACC definitely showing a lot of outperformance from the overall Nifty, and this could really actually turn back up. And ACC should not be shorted. Let's look at Ambuja. It's almost its twin, and Ambuja at the verge of making a new life high, but it did not. ACC did, but this did not succeed in doing that. Right, triple top. So what's very, very, very important for Ambuja is a triple top. 2015, 2016, 2017 triple top. And when triple tops break, if they break, usually it is a setup for a big, nice up move, which could really, really happen. So don't be surprised if Ambuja goes and shoots to 300 or something like that, and you'll be surprised while the market is going down. These stocks might just suddenly be quietly in the background moving up. So I think we've definitely found something which is worth buying or looking at buying, which I'm really surprised at. Uh, did not expect to find so many buying opportunities, or rather, such strong buying opportunities is how I would put it. And what you're seeing at the bottom are volume indicators, and those volume indicators are showing a lot of strength for these for Ambuja for sure. Right, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Triple top breaks out. I think Ambuja Cement is a 350, 400 rupee stock. After breaking, going sideways for 3 years, it could easily just jump up and catch us by surprise. Comes down, think about buying it maybe at 250, 230. Just keep accumulating. Long term spot, accumulate. If you're going to do this as a trader, then think very hard about it and as to how you want to go ahead about it. Right. Grasim, what happened? Oh, there was some demerger, if I'm right, or what happened? Some split bonus. Does anybody know? Why is my chart like this? 1,300. I think there was some demerger. There was a spin-off of Grasim into some other. Oh, Okay, so I'm not going to comment on this. I need to look this up. Right. Okay. Ultratech. Alright, so Ultratech really made a new life high. Right. So in the cement space, it made a new life high, but has not really been able to sustain that new life high. Obviously, has come down, and weak volumes that it has come down on, taken support, short-term support at 3,865 levels, may come down to about 3,600. If it does, just keep a watch on it, and at some point it's going to give a buying opportunity. But I think of all the ones I saw, I really like Ambuja in the cement pack. ACC also, but it looks like Ambuja is looking like a better bet. Or if you want to spread your investments, then Ultratech at lower levels, Ambuja maybe at current levels or slightly lower. All right, so we found some Hero Motors, Ambuja, yeah, those two. Coming to the FMCG pack and looking at Hindustan Unilever. So this has made a new life high and just continues to go higher and higher and higher. It's after it broke out from these levels at 950 in April this year, it's just been on a tear, and just going up and up and up. May come down to around 1,120 levels, and who knows, take support there for all you know, and maybe it'll just that will be the support level too. I think watch out for as far as HUL is concerned. Watch it. It's not very far from that. 1,150. This is at 1,150 rupees. Could take support and go back up. ITC. This one was after that thing about increasing cess on cigarettes. Just cracked and then has just been drifting down. So this big gap, someday it will get filled, and that will be a very nice trading opportunity. It's almost a 12% gap. Yeah, 12.5% that stock fell that day. And imagine just 12.5% going up happening in a short period of time. Remember that the FMCG index, though weak, was one of the less weak. And what's nice about ITC, it has come to its 2013, 14, 15, 16. This is very, very important. Now I have to really say this, guys. I'm surprised I'm saying this after doing part one. We'll see some more, of course, but the thought has gone through my mind that there are some of these heavyweight stocks like ITC, which are at important supports, and if they take that support and it turns up, the stock turns up, then it could, for what it's worth, take the Nifty up with it to that extent to of its weightage. But of course, right now we've seen a lot more weaker ones than strong ones, so that's something to keep in mind. Uh, Indian Oil, right? This was one stock we were really tracking in the indicators course that's going on right now, and I hope at least some of the people in the indicators course made really good money. We were talking about bullish divergences, and then there was this falling wedge that happened, just broke out, and look at that move, 375 to 440 in 3 days, right? And right now it seems like it's sort of doing a flag, is what I would say, right? Consolidation and more likely to move up. So this is not a stock I want to sell, and I don't want to short it. There is a good chance that this would actually shoot back up and go back to its life high of 450 rupees. So that is something to keep in mind. Right. BPCL. So BPCL also, I think. BPCL not also made a new life high, has corrected from there, and yeah, has corrected from there, and at some point will probably find some good support, and then it'll go back up. All right, so 440. Look at support for BPCL at 440. Today, well, it actually bounced up. That's the thing. I'm saying it could already be very well at support and not be wanting to go down. So this is something IOC, BPCL, IOC definitely I think should be on your radar for buying. BPCL also. ONGC, well, too early to say. It had made a nice run up from 140 to 210 in the last year. Now it has certainly come back to probably a support level. Let's see. Yep. It has come back to a support level, but let me just very quickly look at crude oil prices. Crude oil continues 1 month, because that's what ECC does. ONGC does. Alright, so crude oil prices in terms of the Indian rupee looks like it's bottomed out and might be going up. Yep. And that will be a good thing for the stock like ONGC. It basically makes its money, of course, selling raw oil. Okay, so can't say the downtrend on crude oil is over, but there is a nice double bottom between 2016 2017, just correlating things, nothing else actually. And little too speculative, I would say, but okay, don't short ONGC either. Maybe actually a good buying opportunity somewhere at around 150, but okay, nothing great. GAIL, Gas Authority of India. So these guys are putting gas pipes across the country. That's another triple top, right? Broken out, but somehow just did not, sustain. Now this is another stock which I think should not be uh, shorted. Look at that today, gap down, massive opening gap down, and then it has shot up after that. Wow, this is like crazy. Now what do we have? A situation where the Nifty will go down, but individual stocks will actually do very well, and becomes a very stock specific paradise, right? Okay, so uh, I haven't been this surprised for a long time. 320, 325, we may not even come down there. That's my thing. Triple tops are very powerful patterns. When they break, they can really set up for some very sharp moves when it breaks out. And I'm just wondering whether GAIL is actually doing that. One of the things I'm thinking is I'd really love to get into the fundamental analysis of these stocks. For me, personally speaking, I just find that helps me clarify, consolidate, lay some grounds for better decision, and then take some strong positional positions in any of those stocks. So technically this is looking good, but can't say anything more beyond this from the chart. NTPC, really not a stock, or a chart rather, stock that I really like. See, a very lazy here and there type, not going anywhere, and I'm going to continue with that. Though it could break 160 on top and it's come down to probably a good support, and then who knows, it goes up. I forget NTPC. I just keep it because in the Nifty, but that's not a stock I just like to analyze. Power Grid. Right, so that one has been going, as you can see, weekly chart, strength by strength, it's been going up after it broke out from 8-year resistance. It's just been trending up, and there's no reason why this is going to actually very good volumes, excellent, amazing volume. That too on the weekly chart, right? This is not stuff you've seen for at least 2 years. This stock is being bought, guys, and this should not be shorted. It should take every opportunity to get into this stock at lower levels. See, it came to a support today at around 210, 212, and then went up. Volumes also pretty good. So going down on low volumes, going up on high volumes. Power Grid is another stock too. Just keep buying 250, 300 easily. Tata Power, okay, long-term consolidation happening since 2010 types. You have to be really patient with this, and I don't think there's really any. I can't think of any reason, technical, fundamental, business-wise, to be compelled to buy the stock or short the stock. So let's leave it. Let's find good opportunities, not just any opportunity. Reliance, well, that's another one to definitely buy on every dip possible. The stock has come to its double top of uh, 9 years. It made a new life high, if I'm right, has come down, and this is a weekly chart, come down on very low volumes, as you can see. Right, this is being strongly accumulated. If Reliance comes to these levels, and that is, I think, it's quite possible. I think it says 1,440. Look at the very low volumes. We go to daily, then look at this, right? So it may not be very far from 1,500, but if it does come there, I think one should definitely think about, going long on it. But you short it at your risk, at your peril. Good long-term thing, investment. Once it clears 1650 on a decisive fashion, on its own merit, probably irrespective of what happens to the markets in the longer term. And Also remember this, geophone business, and who knows what else they're going to roll out with the geo platform in the next many months and probably 2-3 years. It could really, the disruption in the mobile industry, I think, it just started, and we'll see some really what should I say, interesting stuff. Like, just let me put it as a neutral term that way, in the years ahead on Reliance. So 1,500. I mean, if you listen to Mukesh Ambani's speech, he said, data is the new oil, and that guy, well, I would definitely credit him for knowing what the hell he's doing. So Reliance, without any hesitation, any dips keep accumulating, may come to 1,500, buy, and then once it clears 1,650, it will really go up strongly, I think. HDFC Bank. So this is one bank which has been in a secular uptrend for God knows how long. Again, no question of, I think, shorting it. Could come to nice supports, maybe there at around 1650. At that time, again, look at the buying volume here. It's terrific buying volume, very poor selling volume. Just keep buying it at every opportunity you get. Let it correct to maybe 1650, 1600, 1660, sorry, and then perhaps go long. Maybe it may come even to 1700 and turn back up. Who knows? ICICI Bank is something is going to, I think, take a long time to sort its mess out. A mess in the sense that, it's really not performed all that well for compared to its peers like HDFC or Yes or Kotak and all of that. So from a relative perspective, I would think ICICI Bank is not something great to be in. But yeah, if you like the stock for some whatever reason, then around 270, 275, one can accumulate it and just hold on. But again, I would pass. Kotak Bank. So Kotak has hit 1,000, and it's it took time coming, but we did talk about Kotak hitting 1,000 in the last many months. If you have been regular to IMR, if you have not, then go and look at the old IMRs on our YouTube channel, right? And the older ones are all free to watch; you don't have to pay, right? And you could um, I mean, you can just go back and review the analysis if you want on Kotak. So this one, iffy, right now, just wait and watch. It's in consolidation phase, looks like that, and may come down to 940 or thereabouts, and then we can take a call after that. IndusInd Bank. So this one is one stock, one bank which has been doing life high after life high, and just been, having tremendous strength. I would again look at this and say that just wait for corrections, see where it bottoms out at a certain support, and then go long on that stock. Definitely not a stock to be shorting. Any of these prices at say around 1450, even 1550, it could get accumulated. Watch the volume. Right, again, good volumes on the way up. Last 4-5 days when it came down, really poor volume, and then bounces up from 1600. Today's low at 1599, psychological mark, and then bounces up. That's really nice. It's gone to once it clears 1670. This stock is going to be a 2000 rupee stock in. It's just a matter of time. In next to impossible to say when. Maybe even this year. Who knows, right? Axis Bank, this one, something sort of went wrong. You had a nice breakout here, but after that it's just been somehow been struggling. Not sure what actually. If you look at all the private sector bank stocks, earlier you used to see a nice discrimination and distinction between public sector banks on one side and private sector banks on the other side. Two very different behaviors. Now within the private sector banks itself, you're seeing this sort of division, which I have really not sort of observed before, not at least to this degree. So you have things like IndusInd, Kotak, HDFC doing really well, and then you have things like ICICI and Axis Bank, really, very uninspiring, really not doing anything as far as the stock price is concerned. So really makes you wonder, what is going on within the private sector banking space. Something is definitely cooking. If anybody knows any bank, what would I say, sector specialist, I would definitely like to bounce off some queries with them. So if anyone knows, please let me know. So Axis Bank, again, something like ICICI Bank, probably best to just leave it aside for now. But yeah, it comes to 460, 440, might be worth buying, but it's already at a good support and it may not break down from here. Right. So those who are looking at it from a longer term perspective, actually you could start nibbling at it perhaps even now. Yes Bank, right? So that's another one that has just been going from strength to strength, right? Really good strength. Here it was at around 900, shot up, went all the way to 1450, corrected back to 1100, tweezers bottom there, and then it just has kept going up and made a new life high. Let's see, on good volumes, absolutely on good volumes, and now it is doing some sort of in the sense it's not textbook at all, a downtrend flag. It's not yet broken out of that, but it could. And even if I want to be conservative and let's say 1600 to 1850, 250 rupees from where it breaks out, let's say 1750, that makes it go to 2000 rupees. How convenient, right? 2000 rupees on this stock will take time, right? Maybe Diwali, who knows, but it's coming, right? That's for sure. It's coming. So that's another bank for you to think about actually buying. What happened? All right. So Yes Bank, IndusInd Bank, Kotak Bank, HDFC Bank, all buys, right? Surprise, surprise. Not that, by the way, none of the private sector banks, sorry, are sells actually. Correction, yes, but no selling really there at all. All right, so moving on, State Bank of India. Don't know what happened to it. Got smashed down today. Anybody knows? Please share your insights, wisdom. But in the longer term, SBI, some merger of those smaller banks has happened with some with SBI, some with some others and all. But in the okay, let's make this a monthly chart. Very unusual, but it's forming a triple top again. It's taken 2010, 2014, 2017. So that's really something which SBI results today, Pradeep. Thank you. Looks like you're a results guy, right? Bad NPA management. All right, but whether these NPAs are due to mergers or because SBI core results that are really bad, I don't know. Right. So, on what account is it? Because of the mergers or because of basically, I guess that's why they merged those banks, because those banks would probably have collapsed on their own, very smartly, very quietly in the background. The government just got these merged. Now SBI will have to pay the brunt of the nonsense of these other banks. And but all said and done, yeah, it'll probably manage. It's come to a support, may break that support, so watch for that. We are looking at a monthly chart. Please remember, very very rare that we look at monthly charts in the IMR, but there you have it. And from here we see what happens, and then uh, let's see. Comes to 240, and that will really be something that one could perhaps look at. Just looking at it, daily chart or even monthly chart. Lots of good supports. I think in the long term it will really not go down much. Right, we'll have to wait and watch. But so just let's see. Just thinking whether it should be shorted or it should be something where could be shorted, right? But I'm also thinking that at some point down, it will very quickly get bought out at around say 240, 245, right? Though strictly speaking, this is not really what would I say? Uh, mm, After the merger, it's like a different entity. But I'm just wondering how much, if I have to see the new SBI and the old SBI, how much of the if the old is the new SBI is 100%, then in that 100% is the old SBI 90, 95, 80 or 70 or 60 or whatever. If we could get some sense of that, then maybe just thinking about it, because in some ways it becomes a different business, a different entity. But again, uh, technically, somebody could argue that it doesn't really make sense. So I was just thinking about that while deciding what the view should be. I think a short all the way till 240, 245 is definitely possible, but after that we have to see what happens next and whether it you know holds that, or if it breaks that, then even 200. But I think at 200 it'll probably become a really good opportunity to maybe go for a long term buy. But once this triple top goes through, then this stock at some point 500, 600 definitely happening. Okay, I think the rest of the PSU banks I'm just going to run through very quickly unless I see something. Bank of Baroda, nothing. HDFC, there's only one now. Okay. HDFC, well, life high after life high on HDFC. Wow, 1,400 to 1,800. Right, so that's a stock which has been really strength after strength. I'm wondering whether some good results came out here. Maybe Pradeep can tell us. And if it has, then it's come back to its really good support. Right, notice that, and from there it could consolidation that was happening there, and at around 1650 it could really be a good support from which it goes back up to 1800 good important resistance, and then it breaks out and goes to who knows even 2000, right? So that is definitely something that is possible. So that is on HDFC. India Bulls Housing Finance, that is 1200. Okay, India Bulls Housing Finance. Look at that. It came down to 1050 and got good support today. Decent volumes also. So some of these finance companies having a lot of. One of the things about, of course, all the finance companies we have to keep in mind is, was it last week or the week before? The RBI cut interest rates by 0.25%, which makes money a little cheaper. And if we're going to see further cuts, or that's the expectations in the coming weeks and months, then who knows? These things have further way to go and go up further. And this one could go to maybe 1500, right? Again, looking at it from a weekly chart, very good support at 800, but I think that's a long way off. Right? 800 is definitely a long way off. Doesn't look like it's going to come there in the near term. So 1000, right? I think that is where I would really like to pay attention. 1000 happens, then that is something to keep in mind. Just keep that for reference. 1000 could be a good buying opportunity, but if 800 comes, put an alert. India Bull, some massive correction happens, then that will definitely be a good place to buy. And I'm still trying to find shorting opportunities. Wow, I think TCS, this is consolidating, right? 2,450, 2,500. Look at that, right? 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 years of really basically doing nothing. And if you are this is like really good strong consolidation. 2200 to 2800, really tough to make out. No comments on this. Don't do anything. If you are this stock, something will happen when it breaks 2800, 3000, and something will happen when it breaks 2001. Until then, it's a very multi-year consolidation. I don't know how long this consolidation in the IT space will continue. Could go on for sometimes many years. If you look at consolidation in companies like Reliance, in Bharti, in what are that, Power Grid, 5, 6, 7 year consolidations, and then they make these moves. So really no comment. From a trading perspective, I think this is definitely, to the whole host of things that we found long, you can definitely look at TCS. If it breaks out above 2550, especially above 2581, then 2650 is definitely possible. Infi, look at Infi, look at that. Last 3 days actually gone up. While the market's been cracking, this thing has gone up. 1020 came to 960, and now it is at 990, and on pretty decent volumes too, right? So again, on a longer term, consolidation going on, a smaller consolidation within a larger consolidation. So this is your sort of larger consolidation between 900 or probably take it there. Yeah, between 900 and 1250. But then there's also this level here, which is between 900 and 1050, and has to decide if it breaks down below 900 or breaks out above 1040. Then we'll know what next. So we'll have to see, wait and watch. Right, so that is Infi. Wipro, impressive, right? So that call for that buyback, which was at a price higher than the market price, it jumped up, has been consolidating, and now looks like it wants to go up again. So across the board, the IT space, just consolidating. And my sense is it's itching to break out. A lot of the IT stocks, it's my sense. I can't say it's my analysis. Call it gut feel, call it intuition, call it just some hunch, right? And of course, I could definitely be wrong on this, right? So apart from this gap that has to be filled in Wipro, right, and if it is filled at around 275, that will probably be a really good opportunity. Definitely no shorts, and this one, a very nice resistance level. So this is at 295, 300. If that breaks out, then 310, 320, 330 is definitely possible on Wipro. HCL Tech, so this one has been in an uptrend since April of 2016. That's the long-term uptrend for you. It's really not been able to. So results came out, I think, on this day, and just went to 930 like that, cooled off. It's sort of, not sort of. That's, if one wants to take that is short term. Let's see if it's a flag. Yep. This is red because it closed down, but let's see in the weekly. Okay. Yep. This week has been a low volume week. This could break out and who knows, just shoot up, right? So IT, HCL, sorry. That's the level it has to break out. 900 on some decisive basis. This one is at least showing some uptrend after, of course, being correcting from 1050 to 700. It is showing some uptrend. We'll have to wait and watch and see how this uptrend behaves. Right now, volumes going down, consolidation could break out and hit 1000 rupees before you know it. Who knows? Wait and watch. Tech Mahindra. Oh, what is this gap? So this has come to a level which it has not seen as far back as 2008. This was a 730 rupee stock, has come to 400 rupees, so almost 40-45% down. What does it do? I think too early to say, but looking at it, looks like some good support at around these levels. But yeah, and it's broke through the 400 mark. Yeah, it's broke through the 400 mark. If you are an aggressive trader, I would say go long on this, but I don't see any compulsion. You have some really other one. TCS is there in fee. Wipro, that was, I think, technically the best setup for a trader, except for this gap that has to be filled, right? So you can keep that. Moving on. So Hindalco 245, tweezer stock being sold off very strongly today. If it comes back to this level 200, then one can think about buying Hindalco. $245. Look at that. So, almost went to its life high of 2011 and just sort of pushed back down from there. It's been a massive move from the 2016 low at 60 rupees. It has gone up 4x and then really correcting very strongly now. And I think just have to wait and watch. If it comes back to 200, it could really be a good place to go long. And if and when, so 200 really good support from 2008 high, the 2014 high, and then for many months 2017, almost 6-7 months there, broke out, it's come back, double top at 250 breaks, then could go much higher. So 200 probably a good long. Tata Steel came out with good results, I think. I just remember seeing the headline news. Right, so there again, gap up, gap up, gap up, gap up here, gap up here, to 570 to 620, just like that in 3 days. Good volumes. Again, if it comes to 580, then could be a good buying opportunity. Definitely 500 will be a good buying opportunity. Right, so that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, 500 is a multi-year support. Nice round psychological number. 500. Never know. It could just suddenly shoot up, go from 500 to 620 for all you know, and then 570 corrects and then could go back up. Well, okay. Whole India, this one is in the dumps. New life high, life low, sorry, could happen. It's not yet happened, but can't rule it out. It really could, if it goes down, then really nothing to stop it. Don't, if you want to short, yeah, this is one thing that I think one could definitely short. Any up move, 240, 250, use that to short and use that to go lower, and maybe 220 is the next target. Coming to pharma, alright, so these guys are really falling like 9 pins now. 1200 has become 450, so you can see the big, look at this, basically from 100 to 1000 and no correction. And if you take the monthly chart, right, and then now from 1000 there's been correction. From 100 to 1000 there was no correction, and this is a massive correction which is now going on. It's become 450. I don't think there's any sign of it stopping right now. It could. Let's see if we can. Is there some good support? Well, good support is at 250. That's another almost half of what it is right now. If when you went to the 1000, if you had said 500, few people would have believed it. When it's 450, you say 250, even fewer people will believe it actually. Strange how the human mind works, but can't rule it out. And volumes are definitely picking up. Really tough to say where this fall is going to stop. It's definitely something to. It's not a stock that one wants to be in. You should definitely be out of it. 600 to 550 in just about what, 2 weeks. Yep. Look at Dr. Reddy. That also has just been broken down like nobody's business. Okay, so maybe too premature. This was a 4,500 rupee stock, has become a 2,000 rupee stock. Half of it gone. Has come to a sort of psychological support, but I think the real support is here at around 1500 or even at around 1700. Yeah, 1700 is where it is. It'll probably, today very good volumes, but just maybe a technical bounce rather than anything else. I'm not sure I want to read too much into this, though the volume is very good. Wait and watch. May go to 1700 and then only think about it. Right, so it could be a good shot. Cipla has formed a sort of base, and 540. It is could go to 500, and we'll have to again nothing. Look at the volumes today. So this is one sector across the board. I think you want to short, you can still short it. Lupin, 2000 rupees stock has become 940. Wow. Right. So on the other hand, when you see sharp moves like this is usually some sort of a panic phase which is happening, and at some point, who knows, a base could form, and this could form good long-term multi-year buying opportunities. But again, like we saw in all the other stocks, so take this for example again, from 100 rupees to 2000 rupees without any meaningful correction except one small thing here, and now that correction is really going on, and could still fall to 500 before some base happens and then it goes up. Well, this is definitely something extraordinary, right? Because this one is actually probably going to go up, and everything is different about Oro Pharma compared to every other stock. So this went from 100 to 700, and all those many years when all the other stocks were nicely trending up, this actually was going just sideways, consolidating. And only in 2013 broke 136, went to 700, consolidating, and looks like, so if you want from the stock, oops, one second, pain with this thing sometimes. Right, so like I was saying, this one you're more likely to move up. Though it's corrected from 900 to 705, this is hardly any correction. Look at the very poor volumes that we are seeing. This is not a stock you want to be selling. Is something definitely different about Oro Pharma compared to. So if you had to have an pharma stock, then definitely this is one to keep a lookout at. So 500 rupees. Okay. So yeah, okay. Coming to Bharti, so this is another stock which has really been consolidating for years, literally. So that is where the consolidation levels are. So from somewhere 2009 onwards, really not you know uh, it's like how Reliance has been for 8 years. And what's really surprising about it, and this is a weekly chart, is in the last 1 week it's really not corrected in spite of all the hammering the stock has, or company has received rather, from Geo. The stock is really not corrected. As a matter of fact, the stock has nicely gone up. seems to be consolidating right now, and I'm just wondering whether it's going to break 440 one of these days and then suddenly rally to 500, 550, and who knows, maybe even go to its life high of 2008 at 600. It's really surprising given the business environment it is, as to how the stock is very impressively, and it's not only from the business side is getting hit and the markets are going down, but this is really not correcting at all. So there is something really cooking in this. I would not want to short it. As a matter of fact, I would probably think that even if it does come down, maybe around these levels are where I would perhaps want to think about maybe even entering long if it comes there. Watch carefully. I would not want to short Bharti at all. As a matter of fact, I would want to look at dips to think about uh, going long on it at some point, right? Okay. Nothing in the right on this one. I want to see if there's anything in the weekly in the indicators. Nothing particularly. Too early to say, but I don't know. I'm just looking at this weekly chart. Pennant and 370 to 430, 60 rupees, breakout from 420, 60 rupees, 480, maybe 2 3 4 weeks. I don't know, no idea. Just wondering. On the other hand, could come down to 350, or it's just at one level speculation. But the whole problem is that you have very strong resistances here at around 440, and till they break, it's really tough to make a call. But just can't help thinking that I think a breakout is imminent. I can't back that up by anything on the chart except this flag, but until this resistance breaks, there's really nothing to say. But I'm just thinking that something is cooking. But on the other hand, what's playing with caution is like it's gone there once and got beaten down very badly from 440. It came to 300. That's a big fall. Could happen again. So till it decisively moves beyond 440, I just like to reserve comment and be cautious. But if I was going to be aggressive, then I would seriously think about building at least some positions long on this, maybe probably in the spot market. Infratel, right, no comment. LNT, so LNT was here, and biggest capital goods space, of course, and what it does, never know. It's been consolidating for quite a few years now, and 2009, since then really nothing much. So really nothing to comment one way or the other. It's not really a trading stock from a long-term investor's perspective. Hasn't done much. Just have to wait and watch and see what happens next to it. But till it breaks 1250, 1300, no comment. Z, so right. So this is what I keep saying about Z. If you take out the dot-com boom that happened, then and ignore that, it really sort of made a new life high in October of last year, and then now it's correcting, and correcting on big volumes. So I think this is one more stock that can be shorted to 480, stop loss about 520, 25, and then goes to maybe even 460. So this is, I think, definitely a short. Yeah. Asian Paints, oh, again, surprise. Really not correcting. Now, the problem with these things is that, they just decide to crack one day or decide to jump up one day. So you just have to keep a sharp eye on it, put an alert. If you have a position, then put a strict stop loss on it and just, wait. Or best, another, not best, but another view is just don't do anything with these stocks and just exit them completely. Have no positions, have no view. Let it decide, and then you can decide what you want to do. Because besides, we found so many good other opportunities. Why would you want to, break our head on these and keep worrying about iffy ones? Adani Ports, 320, 420. I think we saw more than a few stocks at 420 today. Just wondering. Right, so come down, not on very good volume. It's come down to 380, may come down to 370. Perhaps a good place to, enter long. It seems, not seems, it is being accumulated strongly. Volume indicators showing a lot of strength. Could come down to 360 and then turn back up. Right, so which brings us to the end of the Nifty stocks now. This is really perplexing at some one level, unless you get to this idea of sector rotation and how that affects the overall market. I think we found a lot more long opportunities than short opportunities. I am really surprised, and I just then think that maybe what the Nifty needs to do, or is likely to do, is some sort of a sideways consolidation or a time consolidation. Maybe comes down 100, 200 points, but the individual stocks are really showing a lot of strength, plenty of opportunities on the long side, few are actually on the short side, and some very well, really, what would I say, nice technical pictures which are really, really strong. And even from a business perspective, some of these things are really nice. So some of the private sector banks, autos, oil and gas companies, Reliance, Bharti, all really looking, quite good. So it's quite possible that if you're a trader, you want to be short on the Nifty and bullish on individual stocks, right? So that's it. Really interesting how you would want to approach the market. What's even more surprising, which I think is very, very unusual, is that all the sector indices that we discussed in part 1, except the IT index, were all quite bearish. And here we are, when you look at individual stocks, it's showing a tremendous amount of strength, right? So that's really something that would, that one has to keep in mind. And it's become really a stock pickers market. It's not a broad market, and a very, very good example of how in this situation just looking at only the index can be very, very, what would I say, um, distracting, and just completely take you away from what's happening in the internals, and really demonstrates why looking deeper and inside the index can reveal a whole set of things that you otherwise will just not see with looking only at the index, right? So I think it looks like, if I have to review the whole Nifty scenario again, downside definitely there, but looks limited. Looking at individual stocks, I think at some point the Nifty will probably rally back up. May not rally back up all the way to make a new life high, but will probably rally back up, maybe try and hit 10,000 again, and then take a view whether it wants to correct from a longer term or a deeper perspective. But is there a downtrend? Looking less likely now. Looks more like a correction, and the buying opportunities are in the individual stocks. Would probably not be a very good idea to just buy the Nifty, whether it's in ETFs or futures. Maybe let it cool down, and then one can think of going long on it. All right, so great. So this brings us to the end of part 2 of today's IMR. I hope it was insightful. We did a pretty different approach with just keeping the charts clean and simple and looking at it from a long-term perspective of weekly and in some cases even monthly charts. Just looking at price volume and making a call on it. Right. So for those of us, those of you who have been regular on it, I hope it was different, refreshing, give a different perspective. And well, all the best for the coming week. Uh, and well, hope you find some good opportunities to make some good returns. Uh, so Mokari Market to you. Happy long weekend, and we'll catch up in the next Friday. Right. Thank you and goodbye.